Well, there's a secondary fix to vitamin D deficiency, and that is magnesium deficiency, which about probably 50% of the general population is deficient in for numerous reasons, mostly being hyperinsulinemia, which causes you to spill magnesium in the urine, as well as insulin resistance, where you can't even get magnesium into the cell. And that's probably 75% of the deficiency in magnesium is probably being driven by those factors. And of course, obviously poor intake as well. But you do need magnesium in order to activate vitamin D. So that would be number 2 nutrient. If you want to get the most benefits of your vitamin D, make sure you have good magnesium status.
And I love that you highlighted that. That came up when I was talking to Tro a couple of months ago, this notion that magnesium deficiency is rampant, but I've never heard many people besides you and maybe him and some others talk about the fact that the majority of that magnesium deficiency is related to metabolic dysfunction.
Yeah.
And certainly there are a lot of people out there who are not consuming enough magnesium because they're not eating animal foods and whole, non-processed, less toxic plant foods, or maybe spring water or other sources of magnesium. If you could get a magnesium deficiency if you were eating junk food because there's no magnesium in processed food, but you would also probably get metabolic dysfunction as you were doing all that stuff right along with it. So, but the idea is that we are wasting magnesium when we are, quote, insulin resistant. So I think the majority of the ultimate root cause fix for magnesium deficiency is probably going to be, again, helping people understand metabolic health, how to correct insulin resistance. And it's like it's like a 2 birds with 1 stone. You change the diet in a way that makes it more magnesium rich, you're probably going to fix metabolic health or at least improve it.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people miss that. They want to just like keep eating a poor diet and supplement. But
Yeah.
if you are eating these inflammatory diets and you're damaging your intestine, you can't even absorb these vitamins and minerals well. And so, and the other aspect is the dramatic oxidative stress that is taxing your vitamins and minerals, because our antioxidant enzymes are literally built off of cofactors like minerals, right? Superoxide dismutase needs copper, zinc, manganese. And almost every single antioxidant enzyme in some way is going to depend on minerals and vitamins from that aspect. So if you're eating a crappy diet, you are literally depleting yourself of nutrients, and you are dramatically reducing any type of benefit you would even get from a supplement.
You're not going to absorb it. And that's I think that's why we both favor real food above anything, but you have to fix the gut first, and that's connected with everything else we're going to talk about.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, some people too, they're eating mostly well, but then they're also, ingesting seed oils and they're eating ice cream. And, you got to remove the bad too. You can't just eat, an animal-based diet and then also eat bad stuff and think you're going to fix yourself.
Yeah. Every once in a while, people will say that to me, and I'm just a heartbreaker on all these podcasts these days. They'll say, I love my meat, but I love my hot sauce. And I'm thinking, I don't know. I mean, there's definitely some studies out there that would suggest that the capsaicin, and though there's some studies that show benefit to that these nightshade plants, whether it's the chilies or the tomatoes, or that those can be really disruptive via certain lectins to the gut lining. And I'm thinking that's probably not good for, you can eat liver all you want, but if you're eating liver plus steak and you're putting hot sauce on your steak, you could be harming the gut. And so thinking about that, I'll do future episodes that are more about the gut and the gut lining. But we do have to think you can eat the good stuff, which is a step in the right direction. But if you don't take out the bad stuff, it may not be as effective for a variety of reasons.
Right.
So, yeah. Now, so I think from my perspective, those are the biggest things. And a lot of it is lifestyle. It's metabolic health, insulin resistance, things I've talked about frequently in the past. And obviously it's connected with obesity, nutrient poor diets, vitamin D. And so, it's funny. I got an email from a good friend the other day, and he's nearly 70 years old. And this is a pretty fit guy. And he goes, I spent 40 minutes in the car in a closed cab of a truck with a guy who had COVID. And I got what I thought was like 2/3 of a mild cold for 3 days. This is a guy who's 67 years old. Now, granted, this guy's a rock star. He exercises. He thinks about his diet, and he's certainly in the sun. He's very tan. He's very metabolically healthy. But that's the continuum. You can be a 67-year-old that probably will crush this, or you can be a 40-year-old who ends up in the ICU if you have low vitamin D status, poor metabolic health, And a lot of the other stuff we'll talk about at the end, maybe poor sleep, increased stress, and no circadian rhythm in general, and no attention to when you're eating. So that's the way I draw it for people. And even though this is, a virus that is serious and is killing people, and obviously both James and I are empathetic to anyone that's been negatively affected by it.
Yeah.
The message that we're trying to shout from the rooftops is there's more ability to address this than we're being told.